Welcome back, everybody, to Dan Has Fun. It's Dan, Daniel, or whatever you want to call me. And we, last time around playing Humankind, we had just picked our ancient era civilization that we're going to kind of culturally utilize. And it's stability based, partly science related as well. So, let's keep cracking. We need to pick a religion. That's where we dropped off last time, and I said we would wait. So now we have to make a decision. Um, Apparently another nation knows of us too, and we're going to have some curiosity gold. We'll deal with that afterwards. Anyway, for right now, we need to choose a religion. So we can go polytheistic, which gives us more faith for the number of attached territories, like when you glue outposts and cities together. We haven't really done a lot of that yet, but we're going to get that when we get there. Or we can go shamanism and just get extra faith per population, which, given we're going to likely build a lot of farmers' quarters to make up for what our civilization cannot do, we're going to go that route. I have no idea if one's better than the other.
You're as likely to meet their canals and farmers as their soldiers.
And apparently the nation that we just met are food-based. So let's check out what they are like. So, her name, I can't pronounce, so we're not even going to try. But she is impulsive, so she gets strengths of bonuses granted to an AI giving... That's not it. Try that again. That's the generic text. Good start. So impulsive, deeds follow words regardless, so they're not going to do quite the same level of risk management, I guess, that an AI would typically process when making a decision. They're also introverted, so they tend to focus on themselves and not a huge amount of others. Their strengths, they're cheaper for tech, they get more building strength effectively when doing cultural wonders, and their bias is towards being prideful, so they will just not accept deals sometimes. That's fine, they're not really that close to me. They're over here, so the Nubians will have to deal with them first, or just Orange. Given that nations are going to change cultural group constantly, pretty much better just by calling the nations by their colour probably makes the most sense, I would say. So in this case, we're just going to say that Orange will probably be dealing with, what's that, magenta, pink, something like that. Looks like they're just founding a new outpost over here too. That's the little timer out there is indicative of such. So, what we were doing previously was sitting on brown. We're going to continue to do that, because theoretically, had they have actually settled and set up, we actually, despite being on a Pangaea, would have been in a relatively tight situation, as it happens. This tribe, on the other hand, we're next to a sanctuary. I would love to get that, but we're in, annoyingly, 2 zone of controls potentially here. But I believe, and I could be wrong here, last episode I think we were moving a unit back to settle in a region adjacent to us down here. It's been a couple of weeks since I last played, so I do not 100% remember. What I do know, though, is that there's a lot of space over here, potentially. There's not a lot of copper, though, although we do have access to that. Yeah, we do have access to that already, so that's not a huge issue. I did notice, by the way, that when you move around with the arrow keys now, there was an update done between the last video and this one. This moves a hell of a lot quicker, so that's awesome. Let's hope it stays that way and that wasn't just an accidental scenario. So we're still going to keep heading back. We are going to go in the direction of hopefully getting that curiosity, but we're not going to make it a huge priority. We could have totally attacked Orange there too, but it's not a huge deal. I did want to mention too, before we end turn, I know I mentioned it in a previous video, how certain cultural groups, you get more fame depending on what their kind of, priorities are. So for these guys, if you go and get more influence in particular, you get more fame. Notice it'll say 0 fame as a reward right now. I just know. So we'll kind of go over that when we get there. But yeah, every cultural group will have a priority that you go for. This one is influence. And although we don't have a huge bonus to influence in and of itself, we have quite a lot right now, but we're going to need to use it to spam out some outposts. We have successfully ransacked So they should be without any land again. And these guys I'm actually tempted to attack. Are they just a tribe? Yeah, they are just a tribe. Reason why I'm tempted to attack them is I don't really want them to keep spawning more and more units. And they bravely ran away when I did that. So when you are engaged in combat, you can either, just defend if you're the one being attacked, or you can do that and just boldly run away. It doesn't use up all of your units' movement, though, which I find interesting. I guess it's so that people can't, infinitely run away and you can never catch them. Still haven't made a decision yet as to if I want to put an outpost out here or not, because now I can. Now that we've ransacked that location, we could put down an outpost of our own if we wanted to. And it may not be a bad idea, because we can start, blocking off black up there. Does the game think there's a particularly good outpost location here? It hasn't flagged any of them up, which isn't a great omen. This, I can see why. There's not a lot going on here, is there? Can we get double digits of anything? We can get an 11 for hammers if we settle right there. All right there. 6-4. Wow, this is... I'm actually surprised how poor this is. And you can't settle on like a mountain. So that's why I'm not really looking over those locations. If I am going to found an outpost, it might be tempting to have found, to found it exactly where we took them out. I tell you what, I'm just going to do that. We have a limit on how many cities we can make, but I don't believe there's a limit on how many outposts we can make, from what I'm aware of. So we're just going to settle out there for now. We could go around and start trying to wipe these guys out, but I was thinking about it, it might be more beneficial to us to just continuously let them build crappy outposts and then take them out, because then we're going to get money for ransacking them. We might get more fame from taking out other military units. The only thing I've got to be worried about is over here, because if they came over here right now, they could probably actually win this fight. How much gold do I need to... I need 1 more gold, of course. That's fine then. Okay, so let's see what we're being offered for now. AI pretty much will always offer the trade luxuries by the looks of it. So we're just going to do that. And let you guys do some waffly prattle. This is the warriors, right? Yeah, it is. So with warriors out here, we do have to pay a maintenance. They're slower than the scouts, but they're also... a little bit more robust. We should be able to walk straight into this territory and get this curiosity. 20 gold. Better than a kick in the teeth. I think we're going to try and take a loop around. We're going to go this way and see how far the territory for black goes, I think is the way to go on that front. Meanwhile, we have about 10 million animals over here, although it appears they don't have zone of control, which I guess makes sense. They're just random animals, right? That's what I'm looking for. Science and influence. We could totally attack these guys, but I don't really see the point right now. I don't feel it's a good use of time. We're just going to go over here. Close that out. We have an event. We're not going to read every event, like I said, so we're not going to read this. We're just going to see what our options are. So we can have street musicians. They could help commerce elsewhere, even if they distract learning. So it would drag us back towards the middle when it comes to innovation, which gives us more stability but less science. Would give us a trait for 10 turns where we get less science but more money. Both of these have a chance of unexpected consequences as well. Or we could build, it actually puts us a little bit further towards the science side, but not massively so. Oh, productive just gives you more hammers. I'm going to do that. It's going to cost me money, so I'm not going to force buy that horse scout this turn. But the bears didn't move in this direction anyway, or at least the brown bear units didn't move my way, so I'm not that worried. Alibi, I know it's not alibi, it's Albali, but alibi is also a little bit dangerously isolated, but we will deal with it. So, next turn, our warriors will continue to run this way. I haven't seen anything hugely interesting yet. Porcelain, though. Porcelain's money. Everybody likes money. We just got... Oh, we spotted the Gunung Mulu, which gave us 30 science, which means we've got bronze working unlocked. That's fantastic. And there's a curiosity over here as well. That is really good. That's good timing. So we now have bronze working. We need to pick a new tech. In terms of techs, it's shining the wheel at us because that's got our unique unit in it. And I'm only going to go this way because I want to get roads. So the nice thing about roads in this game is they're automatically built. You don't have to build a worker. You don't have to build a caravan, depending on which version of Civilization you're playing. It just happens by default. The only thing I really don't like about roads in this game, and I'm wondering if the update may have changed this, they're really hard to see. But we'll see if they've changed that in the most recent update. I doubt it, but you never know. Let's climb up here. There is, I assume it's a black scout unit. Yep, scouts. We're not going to attack them. I don't need to intentionally antagonize them. But I do want to come over here and see if there's anything worth grabbing. Even though it'll put me in zone of control for them, I'm just going to sit there and, yeah, run out of movement. They will now have to go back to get around me, so I'm hoping I might be able to get to that curiosity first. Might not, but you never know. Idle units, they're just going to sit in place. They're going to station because I don't want to lose to these guys. I shouldn't lose to them because they're only tribes, so they only have a strength of 10. We have a strength of 14. Yes, one of the units is injured, but we should still be able to beat them one-on-one. But we definitely don't want to go any more, over-ambitious. So we're going to be a little bit careful. And next turn we are at least going to get a scout, which I'll probably run over there just in case. Because it doesn't look like there's anything going to be attacking us, at least on our front lines. They did go the way I was hoping they wouldn't, so we're going to accept that we probably won't get that curiosity then. This location, though, in this segment of the map, the game does actually suggest a couple of locations, which is awesome. However, I'm not sure if this is where I want to settle first, or if I want to go into this area. This geographically makes more sense because it's connected, but most of this is snow. Yeah, there's lead. Lead is science, so that's always good. But the actual segment itself looks pretty lacking. Yeah, okay. We will settle then in this area, and I think that location's actually fine. Notice how it's costing us more and more influence, by the way, to settle these things. And if we expand too quickly, I assume the other AIs don't like it and they get upset about it. We'll see. I actually don't know the answer to that. Anyway, we're going to grab that curiosity. Got some money. Finally, there's another curiosity over here. I guess we'll go and get it. It wasn't the way I was planning to go, but we're here. It could be... Oh, yeah, it could be anything. Notice how you actually don't see it anymore. Technically, this unit doesn't have line of sight over here right now, which I do like. But I do wish it was a little bit more intuitively clear what you would see and what you wouldn't when you move. But it's a fairly new game, right? That's the sort of thing that you'd expect. Anyway, let's go to the next turn. Apparently, they have changed how we feel. Anytime you see this, you can just go and click. Apparently, we now have pleasant relations. Still a little bit dangerous with a person that is impulsive, but, that's good to know. It's good to know. So yeah, when somebody's pleasant, like the tooltip says, they're less likely to attack you, but I was honestly not worried about that anyway. They're miles away. So that's fine. In terms of what we want to do this turn, again, we're going to go get that curiosity. Oh, there's another one down there too, but we're going to grab this first while we're here. Get 40 gold, turn back around, try and grab that one that we, again, can't see somehow. Yeah, even though we're on top of a cliff, but whatever. So, the event that we had previously, this is the fallout from it. So creating an institution dedicated to music in every city was an excellent idea. Performers produce refined, delicate compositions, and many pay for the privilege to hear them play. Music is a serious, artful practice carried out by trained adepts. The strict classical musical culture is well established. Which does mean we technically move on our ideological axis towards authority. But people love positive outcome. So I'm not going to complain. We do have our scout unit out now, by the way, which we are going to transfer over there, just so it's its own unit. And then, yes, we have a movement of 6. Horses are fast, unsurprisingly. For now... Oh, they are setting up an outpost over there. For now, I'm going to go over here I don't want to use all my movement in one go, though, because I don't want to be ambushed and get away with it. I don't see anything. I think we'll be alright. Moving a scout by itself is not too bad, because you can always, again, run away. And you've got high movement, right? So that's not too bad, but still want to tread carefully. But it means if we've got an outpost, we can go and sack it again and rinse and repeat. Although we are a little bit weak in terms of physical military units. So we might not want to go too crazy. Actually, if we go into this city, we do have a shared project available now, the Stone Rings. Which is just more faith, more stability. Not really worried about that right now. What we're definitely going to do, though, is build a copper mine over here. That's an absolute no-brainer. We definitely want to do that. Meanwhile, there's another place, yes. So, Albali, because it's an outpost, you don't have to spend turns doing it. You can just spend influence, and boom, we have copper. So, when we get to our unique unit that needs copper and horses, we can build it, which is awesome. Again, it is tempted to combine these two together, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to leave that up in the air. We don't really need to prioritize doing that yet. There's probably some very much more optimal play than what I'm doing, but we'll see. And we're also going to make sure that goes in, because we're all about influence as this nation. But you will notice we do have other units available now. We can get spearmen, just a generic anti-cavalry unit, or we can build more warriors. They're the same upkeep, but you'll notice that spearmen are slightly weaker than warriors, but they're better against horses, right? So that is the difference there. So once we get that built, we're going to probably throw in... probably just going to go for another cavalry. They do use population every time you build a military unit, so that's something to bear in mind. And we're not growing very quickly. That's why we're building a farmer's quarter, just to try and help with that. It's very hard to spam out units if you don't have any population. Oh, yeah, they did now build their outpost has actually become a city, so they technically do exist. Mama Oklo? Not sure. Anyway, they're the Egyptians at this point. We're going to introduce ourselves. They're hesitant. I'm not sure how. They should really hate us with a passion, but they don't, so I'm not going to complain. She is careful, so she's going to be defensive. She's an introvert, so again, she won't deal with a huge number of civilizations. Conveniently, we started kind of bullying her early because she's expansionist, so gets cheaper outposts and cities, at least to absorb them anyway. And as a protector, she gets more combat strength in a district that is designed to give extra combat strength, so she kind of gets a double dip, which is awesome. She's also a turtler, which is typically how I play. It's not really a very optimal style for most games, but it's what happens when you play games when the AI is a turtle. You tend to copy what you see, right? Anyway, we bullied her, so she's not really going to have a huge amount of room to expand, but we do want to start blocking her off a little bit. Or we can just attack her, but we're going to leave her alone, I guess, for now. We can still attack her units without a huge amount of issue, because, again, remember, in this game, unlike, say, a civilization-based game, attacking them outside of their territory doesn't cause any issues, but we don't have open borders, so I can't just wander in. This was good line of sight, good vision, though. I actually had no idea this was all over here. Not that it really matters, but it's good to know that it's there. We're just going to move this scout. And so this scout is going to be doing the fog busting and the curiosity searching, just because it's significantly faster. So it'd be more efficient. And I'm constantly going to forget quite how much movement they have. You just have to get used to that. I'm constantly going to leave it on 1 or 2 movement and have to try again. These guys are just going to station for now because they're a little bit out on a limb. This warrior, yep, guys going to go and get the curiosity that we saw previously. Science and influence, that's exactly what I want to see. Beyond that, just going to click through those so we don't have to worry about them anymore. Now, I'm still going to go this way and see how much territory Black has to maneuver into on this side of the Pangaea, and end our turn. So far, this is going pretty well. We've got another attitude change, apparently. They've gone back to being hesitant, which is fine. Don't care. They're miles away. They want to do luxuries too. We're still not dealing with this yet, because even if there were luxuries available, we can't afford to buy any off anybody. So that's fine. Black's troop over here. So that's where their border is. I don't see that they've expanded over here yet, which works for me. But there's a lot more room over here, actually, than I thought there was going to initially be, which is good to know. I can't quite see Memphis, apparently. So, again, we're just going to do a little bit of fog busting, see if we can find some curiosities. And then occasionally we'll go back to Memphis in that direction just to make sure that they're not sneaking attacking us. I don't think a turtle playstyling AI probably will, but you never know, right? You never know. Nothing else seems out of the normal. I do wish you would get like an alert if you could then see a new unit from the opponent that you didn't have before, but we don't have that. Again, new game. It's only going to save it by a turn where I am going to spend some money to speed that up, because population's just that important. So now we're growing a population in 2 turns. We're getting 6 per turn. That's not too bad. Cultural conversion has started. So that's interesting. We're going to keep an eye on that, because I don't actually know a huge amount about it. What's also interesting is, because we have spread out, I guess, you know, we're just kind of a bit all over the place with regards to what we have access to. Oh, hi, kitty. Alright, cat invasion on this end. It's fine. Just doing his thing. I'm curious, because I actually haven't really done much of this before. We'll deal with that afterwards with the Mycenians. If I go back out of this screen, like that, so there's this option, so we have the option to do something called Cultural Blitz. It spends 30 gold to do it. It says immediately bring one of your empire's territories back into its sphere of influence and gain influence for each adjacent territory already in the sphere. If you do not have the highest influence in the territory, there's a high chance it'll start converting after you use the action. I just want to see what it... Oh, they're building another outpost out over here immediately, is brown. Interesting. I'm just curious what would happen here. Can we convert that and see what happens? I don't know. We'll see what happens there, if anything. I really have no idea. Interesting. Anyway, they're building more outposts, which obviously we don't really want to have happen, but I'm just going to leave them alone for now. I don't have to deal with it yet. I don't really have the units out to deal with it yet, so we're just going to pretend they're not there. New outpost founding over here. I believe once that turns into a city and technically has territory, they will start asking you to leave if you don't have open borders, and you take like a... I think you take health damage, actually. Every turn you're in a territory you're not technically allowed to be in, which is an interesting way of doing it. But yeah, this movement, by the way, with the arrow keys, this is wonderful. That they got this dealt with. Definitely not dealt with because I was complaining about it. I'm sure lots of people were, but that's nice. Any curiosities? No. Okay, we're just going to have it start moving that way for next turn then. And end turn. Something else about the UI, actually, I wanted to mention just while I'm at it. You'll notice in the left-hand side over here where my mouse is, it'll actually show you the elements of your civilization where you're getting close to scoring fame. So, for example, we need another tech to get a scientist star, and we need one more population to get the first agrarian star, because there'll be 3 for each. And like I mentioned right at the start of the game, I like to prioritize food, because if you don't have people, you can't build anything. So we will probably be getting quite a few agrarian ones. We might even go for agrarian civilizations down the line. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh, curiosity. That's awesome. Just 40 gold, though. 40 gold's not bad or anything. Oh, free science, too. That's better. I'm more interested in getting the science and the influence than I am anything else. Also, I think the reason why we just got science there is we have this very interesting pink lake. Yeah, Lake Hillier. I butchered the pronunciation of that too, but that's kind of cool. Do we want to be bold and split a unit off for another outpost? Just out of curiosity, if I did that, Because I can always transfer into a new unit and then put it back. If I just go there, for example, if I try and build an outpost, obviously it won't let me build another one here. But the game does recommend this region, so we're going to do that, again, just to box them in early. And what we will probably do is these two outposts, we're going to develop one of them into a city, and then combine them together, I think would be the way to go, just so we have something with some productivity over here. It's going to be, again, slightly isolated. And we need to build some military units, like, desperately. So I think that's the way we're going to go. And then it will probably mean, potentially, that these two, Housing and Bede, might combine together in the end, and then Alibi might, combine with something down here. I don't know. I'm not sure, again. I'm not sure what the optimal path is for this game. That's what I'm thinking, anyway. So let's go next turn. Let's do another turn before we finish off for the day. We just got our era star. So we just got our first star because of population, and we got one for science too. Actually, we got both of them on the same turn. That's convenient. So now we have 2 stars in the top left corner. You have to have 7 before you go to the next era. You don't have to go to the next era when you get to 7, but the option is available to you. There are pros and cons to delaying. We will possibly talk about them when we get a little bit closer. Anyway, we have 2 of the stars. You'll notice there's now fame being accumulated. I'm at 216 fame. We're actually miles behind, as it happens. Black at 464. But remember, we took forever to get out of the first era intentionally, so that's not a huge surprise. There's the wheel. We need to pick another tech. What do we really need? We don't really need that. Flood irrigation wouldn't be bad, because we do have rivers in our territory. Artisan quarters gives you the granary. Masonry lets you do forced labor, so you can effectively sacrifice population. For hammers, I don't really like to do that, really. I don't feel like we need the battering ram. I think I'm going to go fishing. It's going to take 6 turns, apparently. To get fishing, we have to go for carpentry first, which is fine. Having archers is no bad thing, just so we have some defensive units we can build. Yeah, I know, we've already talked about the other star. It's okay. I appreciate it, though. So our Bali has converted to our religion, which is fine. We're going to talk more about religion when it really becomes pertinent. And the game has told us that this population has grown by 1. It's still an outpost, though, so it's not really a big deal. How much is it going to be to turn you into a city? 160. If I build... What I'm going to do, I'd rather use the influence to get these mines down first, and then that will delay the outpost. But I think that's actually better. Constructing these actually gives you vision too, which is interesting. And we got a star for that too, because we now have 6 districts. I don't know if this woolly mammoth will attack the city if I quickly run out with this scout and run back. Because I don't know, this is a terrible idea, I suspect, but I just want to know. And if it means we have to rebuild an outpost, that's what we do. But I'm just curious. I wonder if it'll even attempt to ransack it. Just want to see, because I do not know the answer. And we're not playing on a hugely high-end difficulty here, so if it all hits the fan, I think we'll be okay. So, we have our scout horse down here. See if we can find any more events for us to go to. Not so far. Nope, nothing over here. That's a shame. There is a resource out to sea, which is interesting. We don't know what it is yet, so I'm not going to prioritize it, but it is interesting. Meanwhile, the warriors up here. Am I going to be able to walk over that? No, it's in their territory anyway, but I'm curious if you can actually walk over. Yeah, base movement cost 1 million. It's just in a really awkward location. Alright, so the warriors have seen pretty much all they're really going to see right now. I have no idea where the other civ is. Or, it could be behind orange, could be behind magenta, it could be right between them, I really don't know. I'm just going to have it slowly walking back in this direction. And the game is smart enough, if there is an interaction event, like a curiosity, it should stop their auto movement. We'll see. Also, which is interesting, I only noticed this now, we have Akkad here. So, Akkad is, unsurprisingly, where the Akkadians live. Our global proximity and our kinship is purely because of the culture that we picked. Typically, the closer to you in terms of ideology you are, the more that a kind of, this is really equivalent of a city-state, will like you. You'll notice actually that they are nowhere near us on the ideology scale normally. They are full liberty and full tradition, which is interesting. We're not anywhere near on either of those. They're the two ideologies they care about, which is super interesting. They're also peaceful, so they'll never attack you first, which is good to know. You can totally attack them, and again, there's pros and cons to doing that. We're just not doing that right now. We're not building an army, really, at the moment. We don't have the population for it, even if we wanted to. I'm getting one more turn, so I guess we'll do one more turn. Why not? So we've got another population in an outpost. It doesn't hugely matter right now. It will matter when we turn it into a city, but it doesn't matter right now. So this tribe should run back because this outpost is technically undefended at the moment. And station. These scouts. I'm just going to move over. I'll see if it can go to the curiosity. I notice that the mammoth didn't even attempt to go for the city, which is awesome. Maybe it's because they're peaceful creatures. I don't know how that technically qualifies, but again, I think we're just going to run over. Actually, we're going to use our unit here to deal with it and then just run back afterwards. We only got 20 gold. That wasn't really all that good anyway. But we're going to have the scout come up here regardless because there's a lot of land up here. So yeah, so we're good on that front. We have an event, a game of prophecy. So with the Empire thriving, a new game hailing from a foreign land beguiles the population. Everywhere you go, the distinctive game board and piece is catching your eye. Insisting on a public demonstration, you play the game under instruction in your palace court, but the event has a sting in the tail. The game is reckoned to be a form of divination as well as entertainment. Gasps could be heard as the game's prophecy became clear. You are fated to lose everything. What will you do? Feels like playing the game of life, really, doesn't it? So you can either silence them, which just means you lose a bit of money, you go towards tradition, that's about it. If you overlook it, you get defiant, which is less stability, but honestly, early game, that's really not a big deal. In terms of, again, where it puts you, you are going towards the same real direction. Oh, actually, it's the opposite, which makes sense. I misread this. But this is interesting because it reduces stability but gives us more influence, which, as we know, is something we're interested in. Or we can heed, which gives us superstitious, which means we get less science for 10 turns, which we're definitely not doing. Defiant is not great, but we're going to overlook it. Wow, that was badly explained. So yeah, so we'll end the video here. I appreciate you watching. If you did like it, if you want to like or subscribe, you certainly can. I would appreciate it. And hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care now. Thank you for watching the video.